What's up, everyone? Welcome to another session of the In Our Tribe podcast. I'm Adrian Ruiz, Executive Director of the Youth Development Network and the host of the In Our Tribe podcast. Today with me, coming to us from the Bay, is our good friend, Dr. Ashanti Branch. When I say good friend, I need you to know he's my brother's good friend, so that makes us good friends. So that's that. Dr. Ashanti Branch, welcome to the In Our Tribe podcast, man.
Man, I appreciate it, man. When I was in college, a friend of mine used to wake me up in the morning saying, "Dr. Branch, good morning." Now I haven't earned the doctor part yet, but maybe it's being spoken into existence right now. But I'm glad, I'm thankful. I'm thankful to hear it. It sounds good. It sounds good.
Yeah, well, the truth is, man, you're probably doing more than some doctors out there. Ooh, yep, I said that. It's one thing to write the paper. It's another thing to create legacy for young people in the Bay. That's all I'm saying, man. And
Thank you. Oh, man, for real.
that's
For
the
real, for
truth,
real.
right? So we
That's
always
right.
start off the podcast by asking you, what are you listening to this day, or recently? Like right now, I just went back to Kendrick's "To Pimp a Butterfly," and it's that conversation, Mortal Man, the conversation he has with Tupac at the end of that, and I just like, I've been reflecting on that one hard, man. Like it's just been really hitting me. How about you? What are you listening to these days?
That's a great question. That's a great question. There's a man. What's playing over and over again? I probably listen to way more podcasts than music these days, but I would say a song that's ringing really true. Someone put me on to a song by Kendrick also that was called, was it called? Oh man, now see, yeah, they got me thinking about what song was that was in that song with Kendrick. Oh my God, it's like I I like music. I love music. But I don't have. I'm like the musical trivia person. You know. Let me think
Yeah,
about
yeah.
that. Music. It's gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me. Daddy Issues.
Mm,
Daddy
Daddy.
Issues. Yeah, and that's the one that recently I went back and listened to it a couple of times and was like, okay, like we all. I didn't have a father, but he did, and knowing that even if you had a father doesn't mean
Mm,
you don't have daddy issues, right? So the daddy issues don't only come from fathers that were absent. It could be
woo.
fathers that were present, right? So
Yes, sir.
that's I know where my
Yes.
story comes from, and I know that oftentimes those who have fathers feel like they shouldn't complain because, oh, well, I had a father, but it doesn't. A human being doesn't mean that they did the thing that human being should have done.
That's the truth, man. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth, and we're gonna get more into that, I'm sure, man, because I think that's life work right there. But for you, Ashanti, when you think about your life and what you do now, tell us a little bit about yourself, man. Like, where you from and why do you do what you do?
Man, you want the 2 minute version, the 18-minute
Yeah.
version, which version?
Um,
So
we'll take it
I
from
was
there.
raised in Oakland. Oh man, I'll try. You wave me off. You tell me when. So I was raised in Oakland, California, raised by a single mother. My father died before I was born. So a lot of the journey that happened is my mom began to grieve my father's death, and my mom loved my dad, and my dad loved my mom. My dad wanted to marry my mom, but my mom was in college. She's like, I got to finish college first. You're a barber, you're a Rolling Stone maybe out there, but let me finish college first. And sadly, 3 months before I was born, he passed. And so as she began to grieve, what I've learned and researched is that she passed all that chemicals of sadness and worry and stress down to me in the womb. And I show up here in Oakland, California, a little boy who feels everything in a society, in a community where boys aren't allowed to feel anything. You can be angry, you can be funny, or you can be like, I don't care. But to be sad and be worried and be stressed and be worrying about friends breaking up with you and like all that was way too much for the people who I grew up around. So I was always too much. So I realized I had to start turning it off. And so
Mm,
elementary is where I really learned that, oh, who you are is not going to work. So you got to be who they need you to be, which means be tough, be strong, never care about other people's feelings. And I just became a fighter. 4th grade through 6th grade, I got suspended probably 20 plus times. That's at a new school in Oakland Hills. And I was a little hothead. But inside, I was a kid. I was a lover. I'm a nurturer. I was raising my siblings before I even know how to make a sibling. You know what I mean? Before I even know how do you make a baby? I don't know, but they're dirty and messy, and I'm always cleaning up after them. And so
Yeah.
that's the early story. And then I go off to high school, get my act together, go to college, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, major in engineering. I want to be rich. I'm working, making good money. Teaching
Wow.
calls me. I'm like, wrong house, wrong house. I've already served my poor time on this earth. I'm gonna spend this next part of my life being the other side of this economic scale. And I
Right.
ran from it, and it caught me. And I finally answered the call, thinking I was going to go for 2 years, kind of like the Peace Corps, go get this out of my system. I never, well, I look back, but I never went back. So 2002 started the teaching career. 2004, first year teaching, started a nonprofit, started this organization called Ever Forward, helping young men talk about their emotions.
Mm.
And then 2010, we're featured in a documentary called in 2000, so I taught for 10 years. So I'm kind of going fast, trying to like give you all of it, but it's so much of it, right?
Yeah.
Started teaching 2004 when the Ever Forward Club started. That was my first year. And I moved from different schools after that season of Ever Forward. 2015, we were in a documentary called The Mask You Live In. That documentary was about masculinity in America and how this hyper masculine narrative of being a man really hurts our boys.
Damn.
That documentary was when we did the mask movement for the first time, the mask activity, which turned into Million Mask Movement.
That's
And so
right.
since then, we've been inviting people around the world to make masks. We've invited we invited millions, but we invited millions, but 90,000 people have taken the challenge to make a mask from more than 100 different countries. And so that's what we are on a mission of, is engaging people around the world.
Mm. Indeed, this is life work right here, man. This is life work. So I want to hang out with those two things, man. I'm gonna go back to the Ever Forward Club and tell us a little bit about the Ever Forward Club and its mission, its vision, values, all that good stuff. Tell us about why it's been such a hit in the Bay.
Well, thank you for asking, because being a hit in the Bay, I think I'm very self-critical. You know, I have these big goals, and when I don't hit them, it's hard for me to give myself any credit on it, right? So thank you for the words around that. Let me say, what I saw as a first-year teacher was that there were smart young men in my class who were failing algebra. I was an algebra teacher.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, dude, you're way too smart to be failing my class. Like, you can fail one of these other teachers' class, and half of them hate you. So you can just go fail their class. But I like you. It doesn't make sense to fail a class of a teacher who actually you
Mm.
like, and I like you, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
there's also rules among students that you can't be too friendly with teachers, right? There's certain rules in the student handbook that's not written but definitely acted on most days. And so I said, you know what? In class, I can't tell you how smart you are because you want to fight me. You want to get in an argument with me. So I needed to do it in a separate place. So I said, okay, look, I invited these young men. I said, look, I'll buy you lunch once a week. In exchange for lunch, teach me to be a better teacher. Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, how do I got smart kids in this class failing when you're brilliant? And that's kind of how it all kind of began. And it was a space where they could just come in, and every lunch, every Thursday at Portable 8, they knew when to come in and where we were doing it. And sometimes they wouldn't show up, and they would know what was going to happen. Somebody's going to come find them. Like, you don't just not show up to a meeting. And what I was trying to help them learn was that your presence matters. Like,
Mm.
keeping your word matters.
Mm.
Doing what you say you're going to do matters. Being committed and keeping your commitments, not only when it was fun to say I'm committed to this, but even when it's not fun. And so we
Right.
began to build a community of a family, academic family, and that's how the Ever Forward Club started. So it was around that mission that even when I left that first school where it started, it grew in different places. And so
What school's that?
that was at San Lorenzo High School.
San Lorenzo. Gotcha.
San Lorenzo
Gotcha.
High School. Yeah, unincorporated town, right in between San Leandro and Hayward, right here in the Bay Area.
Oh, you want to hear a crazy story?
Tell me.
Maybe I shouldn't. It's gonna be recorded forever, man. So you know where me and my brother are from, right? Did he tell you?
I don't think I know. I don't think I know. No.
So me and my brother, it's complicated, but when we moved from Miami, we settled in the Mission District, and we went to Mission High School, right? So
Okay.
we're from Mission High School, boom, right there, right? And Oh, I love that place so much. But so we're playing what's it called? The school in Hayward, Sunset High School. What's it called? High
Well, there's
school.
Sunset, Tennyson. There's Mount Eden. There's Sunset. Sunset is also
Sunset.
there.
Man, we get into a rumble, man. Halftime hits, halftime hits, and someone spits on my boy Los's face, and Los takes off his helmet and just crack. All hell breaks loose, man. All hell breaks loose. And all I remember is being escorted out of Hayward on a Greyhound bus with Hayward PD on all sides of the bus taking us out of town. And Coach Palmer walking up and down the Greyhound bus, screaming at us, yelling at us, like, oh, just crazy, man. But like, as soon as you said where you're from, I'm like, oh, I'm flashing back hard right now.
Oh, and a
So,
Greyhound bus of all things, right?
of all
That's
things,
that's
it was
right.
nuts, man. But that's what that was like, in the late 80s, 90s. That's just the way it was, man. Like it's
That's right.
unfortunate, but that's the way it was. But back
Yeah.
to you, man. Like you're in San Lorenzo and you're doing this and you're picking up on just some common elements of like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna break bread with you. I'm gonna show you that I like you, but I'm
Yeah.
gonna also hold you accountable. When you don't show up, I'm gonna go get you. Like, where'd you get this blueprint, man? Like, how'd you just instinctively know that this is what these young men needed?
It definitely came from something outside of me. It's kind of like how teaching came to me. Like I'm clear that I asked God, like, why me? Like I grew up poor on welfare, eating block cheese. Why do you want me to go do a job? My mom was a teacher. So I knew how poorly teachers were paid, treated, and just they have to navigate their own family while they're exhausted when they come home, right? And I was clear that that's not what I was signing up for. I went to college to be rich. Like they told me that there's a formula. You go to college, get a good job, make a lot of money, you can live happily ever after. I'm like, sign me up for that plan all day. Like
Yeah,
I'm good at math and science. They say, hey, math and science, you should be an engineer. I'm like, really? They make good money? They make a lot of money. I'm in. I didn't even know what I didn't know anything besides that I knew that the way I was growing up and raised wasn't what I was planning. So as a teacher, when I saw these young men not show up, they say they want to be a part of the club. So if you make a commitment, then you make a commitment. It's not like I'm committing today, I'm not committing. You committed. And if you change your mind, then you come to the circle and you say, hey, I made a decision. I'm leaving. I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And tell us why. Like give us some, don't just disappear. And look, I think deep down, subconsciously, what I was trying to build was what I wish I had. Like in high school, I didn't have that. When I went to
mm,
college, I joined a fraternity, but
yes,
and it was some brotherhood in the fraternity, but it was no one talking about emotions there. It was just talking about parties and step shows and girls and dances and clubs and stuff like that, right? So I was realizing that there was a place that I knew there was some gaps missing of what I wish I had. So when a
yeah,
young man didn't show up, here's what I believed: you didn't show up to a meeting, you made a commitment, okay, maybe you forgot. But I
yeah,
had the secretary making announcements every Thursday. Ever for a club, go to Portable 8 right now, right? And if you didn't show up, like I may not have caught you that day at lunch, but somebody's coming to your house that day after school. And it may not be me, it may be one of your other brothers, but it was a mission that it was like, if you thought you could not show up to school for a week and no one would miss you, what would make you not show up for 2 weeks? What would make you not show up? What would make you just not show up for 3 weeks?
yeah,
No one
man,
called, no
yeah,
one missed you, no, they didn't tell your parents about you missing. They just said, hey, he ain't here. We ain't got to deal with him. And then you can take that in to be like, oh, well, my presence doesn't even matter.
right,
So I
right,
made a commitment that if you made a commitment to be with me one day a week, and for some of them, that was like a lot. I want to hear all my friends. I'm like, but you made a commitment. It's technically only 20% of the week. It's only 20% of the lunches a week is once a week, but it is out of 4 days. It's one of them. But it's a commitment you made. Are you not connected to us anymore? Well, why did I come every week? Well, because you made a commitment that our meetings are every week. I'm bringing food every week. You show
mm,
up every week. And so it was a more of me trying to help them see, look, I don't know why fathers don't always stay. Now, my father died, but I've met many young people and many friends in my life whose fathers were in the same town and they just never saw them. How
yeah,
quickly your behavior would change to be like, well, I learned in middle school and high school that I just sign up for stuff and I don't have to go. So my patterns will follow me, I believe. And some of them
Wow.
will be like, why are you making such an example so drastic? Why is it ain't such a big deal? I'm like, well, when does it become a big deal? When does not keeping your word actually mean something to you enough that you will begin being a man who keeps your word? Because
Yeah.
being a teenager right now, you're a teen, but you're still becoming a man, and you're not going to wait till you're 18 to be the man you just miraculously woke up at 18. You are becoming him right now. And are you going to be the kind of man who gives your word and then doesn't keep it? And if you are, okay, just name it so that we at least are on the same page. So I know that every time you tell me something, don't really believe it because you just full of it. And I wanted to have real conversations with them about those things because
Yeah.
I didn't think they really understood. I told a lot of them, look, you're going to be young for about 4 more years, and then you're going to be an adult for the rest of your life.
Mm.
You're in the training grounds for the kind of adult you're going to be in the world. And so I'm hoping that I'm going to hold you to expectations, and you can say I don't want to be held to those expectations, and you can quit. I always made that opportunity for them to quit, even though I would hate if they did. And I had a couple of young men who decided to do some other things. They're like, you know what? I'm gonna go start another club. I'm gonna do this. And it wasn't. Some of them they want to do some bigger things. I'm like, hey, go do it. But I think it was about them learning what it meant to like ask for my word back, right? And I think I
Yeah.
was still looking for that for myself. I didn't have a circle like that for myself, even as a man. And I didn't find my men's team till 2010. So I was trying to build what I had really never seen, but into and some intuition,
That's right.
some place in the heart was like, this is what's important. You
Yes. Yes, that. So you're there with these young men, and now they know. Now they know that you're going to set a high standard for them, and you're going to love on them, but you're also going to be firm, right?
That's right.
Um, and if I I did some review of the stuff that you all have out there, and I think it's beautiful. But at some point, you transition to like just skill building with them, and I think you all call it like the emotional toolbox or something like that. Like you were just giving them skills that were like at some level basic, and at another
Yeah.
level like just so needed, right? Can you
Yeah.
share more about that? Because I think that's super dope.
Yeah. So early on, when I first started, there were people who were like, "So you're a college prep club?" I'm like, "No, we're like the young men who are coming to our circle are young men who some of them don't even want to be in high school. So to tell a young man, "Hey, join this club. We're gonna help you get to college," would be the kryptonite that you would not be looking for, right? So it was
Hmm.
like we come to this club to have fun. We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna show you how school can be fun. Because what if school is boring to you, but you can do it, but you're so stubborn that you're just like, I'm just not gonna do it just because I don't have to do it. Because you don't know that you're sabotaging your 18-year-old self. Your 14-year-old immaturity is gonna make your 18-year-old self have a life of absolute chaos. So what I was really trying to do, I'm trying to get back to the question is like what I was hoping was that in this space of coming together, of recognizing that I'm not alone, that it's not just me, other people here are going through similar stuff that I'm going through. What? Wait a minute. How is the star football player who has a girlfriend everyone knows about and one that most people only know about, like on the side, how is he having issues at home? He has the Jordans on. He got the newest clothes. How is he struggling? Well, because they were good at judging people on the outside. Now, we didn't use the metaphor of a mask back then, not in any real way, but it was all about you all are what you see around school is one thing. When we come in here, it's about building a brotherhood, and what we talk about in here stays in here. And they began to realize like how valuable it was. Now, tell me the question again, because I think I just went away from the question, but
Yeah, like so you're in there and you're in that
yeah,
safe container that you built with them, but at
yeah.
some point you started like really giving them some
Ah,
real
yeah, 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 yeah.
skills, right? Skills to navigate the world,
Mm,
skills to navigate themselves, right? Which I think is like
yeah,
a
yeah. Thank you for the skills word. So what I realized was that I wasn't. They were brilliant. Some of them were absolutely brilliant, more smarter than I was at their age. But because they had put on they put their hammer down on their life. They said, "I'm not doing it because I don't want to do it. I don't do it because I don't like doing it. I don't." I'm like, look, I need you to recognize that these are tools and these are who you're becoming. Now, look, the skills were always what it was about. It was never about academics. Academics was like the secondary piece. Like if we came in at lunch, everyone checked in what classes you're doing good in, what classes you're struggling in. If you're struggling in math, then in my class at lunch or after school, you're going to come and get some help. Now, who has that teacher? Okay, so that teacher, I need who has that class? I need. Can you meet with him this week and go over the stuff you're going over? Great. So I was kind of like matchmaking help with support because it was not about that they couldn't do it. They didn't believe asking for help looked cool And if you want to be cool and smart's not cool, you're going to avoid looking smart. And I've seen smart kids, because I've been one of them, who would pretend to be dumb just so no one realizes how smart they are. And
Wow.
that is a tragedy. But it happens all every day. It happens every day. And so what my job was to do is, look, the skills you need, okay, so you have an issue with carrying a backpack with books in it. For some reason, you thought backpacks were designed for aesthetics. So you have a backpack that's empty and you were refusing to put any books in your bag. Okay, then you got to stay in my classroom after school, do homework, leave your books here, and then you can go home with no stuff in your backpack. Or we need to get you a book at home. So you got a book at home and a book here. Then you can do homework here. And on the weekends, you got a book at home to do work. Like, let's figure out what we need to do to make it work for you, because you are so hell bent on needing to look so cool that you can't let people know how brilliant you are. Okay, look,
What a
how
trip.
much am I going to argue with you about the fact that it's okay to be smart when I'm already a person with a degree on a wall, 2 degrees, and I got a career and a job and a whatever. What am I going to tell you? I can tell you the words, but it doesn't mean it's going to sink in. So part of it was like helping them translate, okay, this is the behavior you're doing. Here's some potential outcomes of what you're doing. Tell me what outcome you're hoping for. Well, what you're doing could potentially lead to that, but it's not likely. Like, the likelihood of that happening, of you graduating on time, of you going off and having a successful life, when your behavior right now is, I don't do what I don't want to do, you are mistaken, my friend. And so it was really around building not only skills, but just like real talk with a man who wasn't willing to tiptoe around you or sugarcoat it for you, that you're sometimes full of it. I told some of the young men, look, you are super emotional. Now, these are the ones who are too tough to be like, what? I ain't emotional. Well, look at you right there. You angry. You angry. You angry. You always angry. Like, you only know one. You know tickler and you know hammer. And most times your hammer is right behind the tickler. Somebody doesn't laugh at your joke, you want to punch them in the face. That is a lack of skills, my friend. So you need to have more skills in your repertoire to be like, oh, wait, somebody made fun of me. Oh, a girl told me no. You went from liking her, asking for her number, now you're calling her a B? What happened? She was beautiful just a second ago, and now she's all these kind of names. What happened? Well, you don't have any emotional tools to navigate your lack of ability to deal with heartbreak, because you think you're too cool to ever have a heartbroken heart. And so what ends up happening is like helping them understand what they have been trained, the society trained them, and then what things that they're demonstrating on the outside. Because all I can tell them, all I can see is what I'm seeing. I don't know what's going on inside your mind or your heart, but I can tell you the behavior I'm seeing and how I'm translating it. And if everyone who encounters you as that, you're gonna mess up some of your circles. And so I think part of my work was around skills was just, I see you, brother. I see you. You're not invisible to me. So what do you want people to see about you? And I think that was the building blocks of the mask that came later. But we didn't talk about masks back then. We just talked about, coming to this space to be your, build your full self. It's a safe space, right? Yeah.
So you got this Ever Forward Club, and you're giving them all this skill at this time. At this point in time, are you a teacher or are you a principal at this time? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, I'm a teacher. I was a teacher for 10 years. So I was a teacher for the first 10, and then the last 3, I went to administration. But yeah, I was a teacher. And I was struggling. I mean, I imagine as a teacher, you're struggling, right? Like, one of my years, maybe it was only a year and a half, I worked at Chili's after work. Because, I left for engineering career, right? And I had this 1-year transition to my grad program. So I still had a bunch of savings, and I started dwindling down the savings. My first year teaching, I wiped through most of the rest of the savings, right? And then it was like, wait, this is not the kind of, my lifestyle hasn't shifted enough to navigate this 66% pay cut. So so I started having another job. So I was like trying to like support them in the day, go there, work at night.
Wow.
I was burning the candle at both ends, but I didn't know any better, because at the time I was just like trying to like see if this thing that was calling my heart. And remember, I was only thinking I was going to be there for 2 years. Like, I thought I was going to get this out of my system. And starting this club was like, wait, this is like glue. You're putting glue on this profession change. How you going to leave then? And so it became like, oh, this is real. And now I didn't prepare financially for this realness of being broke forever. And so now I'm just like, What's
I
going
hear
on
you,
here?
dude. I hear you. You
Yeah,
know, I'm telling you, like this conversation happens every once in a while with a group of friends, and those of us who are in the nonprofit world or in this work of change making. Like I stay quiet about these things, man, because I try to, our faith tells us to be humble and whatnot. But one day, I had a little bit too much of this individual who was talking too much mess, and I was like, "Hey, bro, like I don't know how to tell you this, man, but in terms of making millions of dollars, I've raised millions of dollars. Like I've helped thousands of people. So I don't know what that means to you in terms of like making that money. Like, yeah, I could actually say I've done that and then some, but that's not my calling. My calling is to have impact on this world through helping others, right?
yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like, you could see that as soft. That's on you. But like this whole thing about like who's rich and who's not, well, in the end we might find out, right? But I appreciate everything that you're saying so much. It just resonates with me big time. And I want to get to you get on the page of this mask idea because man, ain't that the truth, man? I feel like I'm still walking around with some mask, as an adult, and I'm still holding on to some of that trauma that I haven't been able to let go of. And it's a life work, right? To work on this. But man, what a blessing it must be for a young man to deal with this shit early and to have
yeah,
someone who can help him navigate that. Can you talk to us about this mask work and how it's like now
yeah,
at what 90,000 people who have designed a mask and what it means? Because man, that's beautiful stuff right there. And props on the art
yeah.
component too.
Oh man, well, I am. Are you an artist?
I'm a wannabe artist.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I
Like,
have
take
such
it.
a high. I admire art in all its forms so much. It's not even funny.
So let me try and show it to you like this. Okay, okay, I'll show you like this. Okay, there are a lot of them to show. So I'm gonna show you this one. This is a 13-year-old male from Louisville. So the front of the mask are the things that we gladly let the world see. The front of the mask, right? So can you read some of
Mm.
those words on the front?
Funny, weird, loving, talented, happy, outgoing.
Yeah, that's the front. And
Wow.
then the back of the mask, this same young man, the things that he doesn't talk about.
What a trip, dude, that it says the front, like front. Oh, I like that. But on the back, it says sad. It says, is that PTSD,
PTSD.
scored, depressed, confused? Man, a lot
And
there.
that's a 13-year-old. So I have there's a female on here too, but I'll show you one of the females. So just for the sake of just kind of showing both. So this is a female here on the top. This is a Lagunitas here in the Bay Area. So this is the front of
Mm-hmm.
the mask: happiness,
Thankful.
thankful, annoyance,
Mm-hmm.
annoyanceness, and
Yeah.
then this is the back of the mask for this 13-year-old female: sadness.
Sadness, anxiety, personal problems.
Yeah. That's
Mm.
13-year-olds. So now I'm gonna show you 17-year-olds. So just for the context. So 17-year-old male, this is Antelope, this is Sacramento area.
Hey, I
Male.
know where that's at.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
do. Yeah, you do. Oh, this is the front. So the front says,
Nothing, just smile.
just smile. Nothing. I don't show people nothing, just smile. And the back says, I don't show people.
Rage, alone, pain.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so and I'll show you another young lady from 717 just for the sake of both, So this is in Sacramento. This is tired. Oh, this is
Tired,
front.
happy,
Tired,
scared,
happy. Yep. And the back says
insecure,
insecure.
jealousy, feel like I can do better.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I think like when we think about the mask, it was designed as an, I say it was an accident. It was like I was working at Fremont High School in Oakland, my alma
Yes.
mater. I was a dean. I had some young men who I was working with. Like they were always getting kicked out of advisory. Now, advisory is a class, and for those who don't have advisory at their schools or parents don't know, like advisory is the easiest class. It should be your easiest A. It should be your easiest A. It's you just sit there, pretend like you're getting advice from this person. Just pretend, even if you don't want to hear it. You just all you can do is be a good pretender, which many kids can do. You can get an A in advisory. These kids were getting kicked out of advisory. The easiest class here. I mean, you're already failing everything else, but can you just get a pass in advisory? they were resisting it. So I told them, I mean, and they were walking the halls. And so since I'm the dean, they're always getting brought to me. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be an advisory teacher. So I rounded them all up. You're going to be in my advisory, and you better not be late. Like, I was really clear. Like, now you've now made me do extra work, but I'm doing it because I love you and I care about you. But don't be in the halls. Don't be late, because I'll know when you're at school and when you're not. So just know that this is what we're going to do. And so we were building space. When they asked us to be a part of this documentary, they were like, "We want you to." We want to see the work you're doing. I said, well, where I'm at right now, it's not going so well. Like, I've tried all my magic with them. It's not working. But our other club over here at Arise High School, you should go there, because that club, those young men are on fire. The young men are leading the circles. The young men, they have a team captain. They have a second in command. The young men are taking on leadership. And they're like, no, well, we want to see where you are. I said, well, you're going to see resistance, because they would rather have a fight. Literally, anytime they feel we're about to talk about emotions, anytime they can sense that the circle is about to talk about something real, somebody's going to be like, dude, look at his shoes. Like, it happens. It's like clockwork. Like, they have this emotional
Yeah.
radar that says,
Yeah.
oh, he's talking about, oh, he's setting us up for an emotional talk. We got to abort this mission. And so somebody's going to say something about somebody's mama, about somebody's shoes, about somebody's hairline. And everybody gets into an argument, because they know that now you got to bring the energy back down to
Yeah.
not deal what you're going to do. So they know how to avoid. Is what they do in classes. So most times they get kicked out of class because their teachers, if they can't read, their best way is to create a disturbance, so they get kicked out of class. So now I know they don't have to read. If they can't write, then they don't have to ever present anything out loud, because they know how to make themselves get boarded, or they'll just walk out. And so I was like, well, look, they're avoiding everything. And they said, well, we want to see. I said, well, look, as long as you're prepared to see resistance, I got you, because you're going to see resistance. So I'm thinking, okay, I got 2 activities I'm bringing here. Don't know that they're going to work. I got 2 under my chair. I said, I'm going to go with the first one, because it at least has a little fun in it. We're on 30 pieces of paper at each other. But I knew that they couldn't talk about emotions. So I said, look, I don't want you to talk about anything right now. I just want you to do me a favor. I just want you to write it on this paper. And I had them print out a picture of a mask. So the original one was me printing a mask. And then I had them write the words on the front, things they let people see, the things they don't let people see. You ball the paper up, and then we just start throwing a piece of paper at each other. It was like a snowball
Yeah.
fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Exactly.
man, when it worked, when I had never seen them that quiet ever, ever. I had never seen them like solemn. I had never seen them feeling the sense of like feelings, like showing up on their faces and their body language. Man, oh man, oh man. It was like I didn't even know how to respond, because I'm so used to like having to put out fires. I'm just prepared to like put out some fires. And now they're opening up. And it was that moment where I'm like, oh my goodness, this is. And it was like there was stuff happening on the other side of the room that I couldn't see, because it was like we were in like a semicircle, so there was some stuff happening that I didn't see. So a lot of it, it's a pretty small group, but when the camera picked up those things and I got to see the film, the first clip of the film, I was like,
Mm.
oh my goodness. And just watching those young men deeply hear their words being read out. Because when we threw the pieces of paper at each other, everyone picked up a piece of paper and we opened them up. And they realized that they were all doing the same stuff. Funny, happy, athletic on the outside, all the cool characteristics, and the sadness and the pain and the fear and all the things they were navigating through on the back. They just didn't know it. And it was that moment where I'm like, oh, man, we got something here. And so that when I went to
Wow.
Sundance to see that film is when I really saw it on the big screen, and I was like, oh, man. And that's been the journey of this movement. Is first it was, what if we can figure out how to get schools to make masks with their students? And that's 2015. The documentary came out. We didn't have a movement back then. We were just doing workshops on the side, and then it became a thing. It was first the 100,000 mask challenge, and in 2020, in the middle of a pandemic, we decided to rebrand it as the Million Mask Movement. I'm not sure what made us move the goalpost 10 times down the line during a
Why not?
pandemic, but
Yeah.
why
No,
not?
talk to me about the snowball activity, because I think
Yeah.
that's so genius, man. And again, was that something you had scripted, or is that something that came to you in the moment? Like, those of us in youth development, we've done the snowball activity so many times, but what you were doing is you were combining this very deep moment with a little bit of fun, and it hit, right?
Yeah.
And Talk to me about that, man. Like what was going, like, how did that come up?
Well, when they said because I thought they were going to go to the other school. I thought they were going to go to. I didn't know they were really going to come to my school. I thought because I was at that school before, so I knew the club was off the hook, and I thought they were going to see some amazing stuff there. So when they said they were coming to me, I had like 2 days before I knew they were actually really coming to my school with the young men who I told them I was having a hard time building a connection with. So I mean, the young men knew I cared about them, and I cared. I could see that some of them cared. Like they showed up, but they were avoiding. They were avoiding fear and pain, right? So what I realized was that when I thought about like what could I do, because I know that every time we try and talk about something serious, is a fight. And I can't have these guys starting an argument, a fight, when we're going to have a film crew here trying to record, right? So I'm like, what if I just don't make them talk about it? What if I like let them know right at the beginning, you're not going to talk about your feelings. Like that's how I started the session. You don't talk about your feelings. I don't want you to talk about your feelings. Okay, but what I'm going to ask you to do is write something down on this paper. Just write it on the paper. And that's how it almost happened. It was like in my mind, I was thinking, if I get them to write it, we would do the snowball fight as a way to mix them up, because it wasn't going to be like me taking them from them and then passing them back out because you set that up. No, I want them to be as random as it could. So the snowball fight was like, how do I randomize these pieces of paper and get them out of their minds? They just wrote something kind of maybe personal. So
Really?
it just shifts the energy for a second before they
Yep.
realize I'm saying, grab a piece of paper and open it
Mm.
up. And then
Yep.
it's like, oh. And then they're like, who has my paper? And so I
Yep.
don't even know it's going to work. I really don't. All I can tell you, if I, I believe in a higher power. So I'm telling you that I'm clear that it was God for me who was like, just do it. Just follow your gut, follow your
Yeah.
intuition, right? Don't overthink it. And I think that all I can say is that I had no idea it was going to work. I had literally under my chair, I had another activity. I don't know what the other activity was at this moment. I literally since then this activity has been for more than 10 plus years. I have been making masks with people, and it's been a huge
Wow.
meaningful moment. And every mask I see, like when I look at these masks on this piece of paper, I don't know who these people are, but they were people who were willing to share their mask with us, right? And so to
That's right.
recognize that all I can invite people to do, and what we invite schools to do right now, is like, what we know is that most brilliant administrators know that they need to be doing something to help students with wellness. But most administrators are not measured by how well their students are doing. They're measured by attendance, butts in seats, ADA, money.
Right.
They're measured
Right.
by grades, by A through G's. Are they passing
Yep.
classes? Are teachers being able to teach? And they're measured by the discipline issues on their campus. How many suspensions, how many expulsions, how many incidents you are having at your school site, how many fights, how many parents are having to call the district to report you to the ombudsman. Like how you're measured by that. So you're not measured by the wellness of students, even though most brilliant of them realize that if your students are not well, these things are not going to be well, but they
That's right.
can't see it. So what we are doing in 2026 right now, we are just changing the order of how we describe it for them, because we're telling them that, look, here, do you want to improve your attendance? You want kids to feel safe to come to school? You got to create a safe feeling school. You want students to pass classes? You got to have teachers who have good relationship with students so that students can ask teachers questions and not feel like they're
Hello.
being ridiculed every time they ask a question. If you
Hello.
want to decrease the behavior incidents on your campus, you got to help your students realize that they're not alone when their emotional baggage they're dealing with. Because I know there's a quote that says, um, um, violence is what happens when people don't know what to do with their suffering. And so when kids are coming with all their own suffering and they're like, I gotta give this to somebody else. I gotta take this out on someone else. I gotta pass this on to someone else. So somebody bumps into me in the hallway, someone looks at my girl, someone says something out of pocket to me, they gonna get it. They gonna get all of it because I've been waiting to give it away. And it wasn't because that person looked at you. It wasn't because they bumped into your chair. It was because 20, 30, 50 other things you hid behind the mask of saying I'm fine. And
Yep.
now there's one person who didn't even
Yep.
deserve it, got something they didn't even want. And that's
Yep.
what we've been trying to do, is give those kind of conversations to students and educators and teachers and parents to say, we got to talk about this stuff before it becomes dangerous for all of us.
Hello. Hello. And we've seen that time and time again, unfortunately. So the Ever Forward Club is with how many young people these days at how many sites and cities? What are we looking at with the Ever Forward Club?
Yeah, the model has shifted. The model has shifted quite a bit. So the pre-pandemic, we had 6 clubs. We were on our way to our 10th club. Pandemic hits, everything shuts down. Coming out of the pandemic, it's been really tricky. The model that we had originally designed. So what we now realize is most of our work is outside, coming in, doing assemblies, doing workshops, doing clubs. We have
Yeah.
our Young Men's Health Group, which we do with San Francisco Unified, which is a beautiful model, 8-week long course that helps young men around health factors around emotional health, sexual health, community health, academic health, financial health. It's an 8-week course of young men's health. That is what I believe is the model that's going to go forward. But also in a big way, like the helping young people usually happens in schools. Schools are these gatekeeper places. We've always tried to just go directly school to school, school to
Yeah.
school. And what I've learned, and sadly, I know educators don't really like districts to mandate things. But I also know as a nonprofit leader, if a principal is changing every 3 years, you get one program going at one school, you get it moving, a new principal comes in, they want a different thing, and now now you got to either rebuild a new relationship or you just got to leave those kids behind. And so what
Yep.
we're trying to do now is as an organization, we've always had this earned revenue model where I don't want to be ever at the mercy only of grants, because that's dangerous, right? It's dangerous to be like, well, that grant's gone. I gotta let 5 of these people go.
That's
I
right.
don't want to I don't want to do that. So I've been trying to create an organization where we bring in revenue, and then we have these grants that helps us do either more new things, try things out. But we're constantly in a revolving kind of cycle of what's next. So right now the model is like I say, last year we engaged over 100 in different workshops last year. Some were done
Wow.
by partners, some were done by us directly, some were pop-ups, but 105, I think 105 was last year. So I think we reached, I don't even have the number memorized. I think it's close to 7,000, I think it was. I think if I remember right. I don't have the full number right now. But
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happens is every year we want that number to grow. Last year there was a little bit of interesting stagnation, but we had our first college club and they were doing some work at Cal State East Bay. So it's been just like a model of we know that the movement is growing and we're constantly having to battle with the noise that we are dealing with in our organizations and schools.
Sure.
So this year
Sure.
the model is, okay, how do we create widespread impact? Well, we need to help educators solve the problems that they need to solve. And I think that's part of our new level of oh, that's what marketing is. I mean, we don't have a marketing team, right? We're a
Right.
nonprofit, right? But we do need to be able to tell a message that people can see and hear that will help them activate and move things forward. And so that's the next phase.
That's the truth right there. I love that, man. I feel like we could do a whole other podcast just on that. I think that the best nonprofits out there have an entrepreneurial spirit and that they're just not chasing the grant anymore. They're holding on to their values and finding new ways to express those values, which is what you all are doing. Super cool to see. Man, my time is running short, but I have one more quick
Yeah.
question, and then I want to come in for
Yeah.
closing with you. Can you quickly tell us about this conference you all are putting on? It's a couple years strong now, right? Like y'all are doing this
Yeah.
conference, and I saw some of the clips, man. That conference looked fun.
Man, it was beautiful. This is our second year. The next one will be this November coming up. So save the date. Second
Okay.
Saturday in November. We had 109 young men who showed up to the conference. The morning was speakers and the afternoon was breakouts. We had breakouts on the creative and educational side, as well as the physical and challenging side. So there was ice plunge, cold. There was a physical challenge. There was a 130-foot long obstacle course they went through, inflatable that they went through. And then there was a painting class. There was a book writing class. There was Beats Rhymes and Life came out with their Beats bus, and so they made music, so they got to get into the studio. So it was really giving them tools and bringing them together. What we know is there's so many studies right now about how young people are feeling alone and isolated. And look, as a person who loves these devices, who has also found myself scrolling for way longer than I thought I was. If we don't find ways of getting people in person together and letting them see that it can be fun, it's safe, and they don't just disappear to the thumbs and the eyes and the machine, then we're going to continue to lose them. And I think that is part of our work. And so the conference was beautiful. We're excited about the next year. We're hoping to have, and here's what we know. we know that of the 109 who showed up, there's 109 of them that registered that didn't show up. I'm more concerned about the ones that didn't show up. You
It's
signed
happening.
up and then
It's
you
happening
didn't show
everywhere.
up. It's
Yep.
happening everywhere. And so what do we need to be doing as an organization who has a very limited budget around marketing out there? Like, how do you get them to show up to the door? I'm not famous. We don't have any necessarily famous people that they're going to get their excitement. They have to be willing to come and explore. So how do we be creative? How do we make incentives? How do we incentivize it? So that's what we did this year. We incentivized, and we had a lot more registering, even though people didn't show up. But that young man who won $1,000, I'm sure all his friends will show up next time. That young man who won 500, those three young men who win they won some cash prizes, and it was like, oh,
Nice.
sometimes the only way you're gonna get something is to show up. Some of them think that money's gonna come knocking at their door, like, hey, who is it? Money? Not today. Not in 2026. It ain't happening that way,
Right.
right? But I think that they watch all these people online and say, "I'm gonna just make money by playing video games," and you're like, you're missing the after effect. You're missing the hard work that goes into it. You're missing the work. You think that
That's
it's
right.
just playing video games with making the money. That's not how it really works. And so, helping young men. So that's our goal. You know, we have a big goal ahead of us, but that's part of the work.
Mm. We gotta hang out, man. We gotta
I'm
hang
looking
out. I'm
forward to
I'm
it.
driving down to the Bay. We're gonna go have some pizza or something. We gotta
Let's go. Let's
we
go.
got to do some things together. Now I know why Gabriel wanted us together so bad. He's like, you all got to talk, you all got to meet. I get it now. I get it. Hey, you're doing life work, man. You're doing life work.
Thank you,
You're
man.
changing
Thank you.
lives. You're talking truth in a time where truth is suspect, and that's unfortunate. And I want to ask you, man, when you think about your life right now, you think about everything that you've committed yourself to. What two or three things is Ashanti most grateful for right now?
Yeah, thank you for that. Um, I'm grateful for my mother. Um, at 22 years old, there, thank God I didn't have no kids because I was really taking care of myself. And the fact that she didn't pawn me off to somebody else, she didn't began abusing me because of her anger and frustration that her youth is now impacted by this little boy who was super emotional, as I said. I'm grateful for her. Thank God I still have her with me. I don't know what I mean. I know I got to prepare for anything always, but it's even talking about her not being with me is complex. So I'm just grateful for her. I'm grateful for I'm grateful for the chaos of Oakland a little bit, and I think about like when I navigate and talk to young people, I may not have been through or go through what they go through, but because I've been through stuff, I didn't grow up with a lot of. I mean, I grew up. There was always something in there in that kitchen. I mean, even if it was a can or if it was a block, unspreadable peanut butter, whatever it was, it was something in there. I'm grateful for some of the chaos because I think that it has molded me to be a person who cares about other people. Like I don't know how it is to be somebody who has gone through stuff and doesn't care about people who are going through that same thing, but we know they exist. So I'm thankful for some of the challenges that have allowed me to be empathetic and never forget where I came from. And I'll say the third thing is I'm grateful that I was raised in a praying house. Like I meet so many young people who don't know where their next step is. I meet so many young people who don't know what it's like. Like, what do you do when you have a burden and you don't know how to solve it yourself? If you think that it's unsolvable, that no one can fix it, I could imagine that being a very tough life. But I knew growing up, if I got into some trouble that I got caused myself, if I was hanging out with people who got in some trouble and I was following them, whatever was happening in life, the chaos happening in my home, the domestic issues that were happening in my home, I knew that if all I could do, if nothing else, I just let it take it out of my hands and said, there's somebody bigger than me. And so I'm grateful that I was raised in a house that taught me how to pray. I often don't talk about that much, but I'm not that I'm ashamed of it. It's not something I've usually share, right? But I know what's in my heart. But I'm really grateful for that because I'm clear that today I'm here, and that I get to do the work I was born to do because I survived long enough for those chaotic days. Every one of those bad days, somehow I made it out. So here we
Yeah,
are.
here we are, man. A friend of mine said, in speaking about programs like the Ever Forward Club, he said, at the end of the day, we're in the business of saving lives and keeping people out of prison. I I believe it to be true, man. I believe it to be true. I believe it that when they're with us, they're in a safe place. When they're with us, they're allowed to dream and they're allowed to march towards those dreams, right? And held
Yeah.
accountable. And I just want to thank you for everything that you've done, man, and how you've given life to something so special, and it's worth every battle. Thank you so much, Ashanti. You are appreciated, game recognized, game, man.
Thank you, brother. Thanks for inviting me. Glad to be here with you.
Right on. And I'm serious. I'm serious. Let's get into some good trouble together, man. I already know. Like,
Let's
let's make this
go.
thing happen. Uh,
Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I love it. I love it. Hey, y'all, if you're out there and you're listening to this episode, I just want to say thank you, man. Like, I mean, thank you it can seem so shallow at times, but know that this thank you is about 3,000 pounds, and it's just full of love and full of so much gratitude. And during these times, man, of uncertainty and these times where um, it's just a little weird right now, the best thing we can do is to stay in community and find others who are willing to help. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the next adventure of the In Our Tribe podcast coming up shortly. Peace.